Through religion, faith, and social understanding, people are taught to believe that violence and gore are to be met with terror and disgust. However, the success of violent extravaganzas such as Quentin Tarantino's films or the Final Destination movies suggests that violence has become a normalized element in films aimed at more mature audiences. Directed by Dan Gilroy, the American film Nightcrawler presents us with the character of Lou, a hard-working and very likely sociopathic anti-hero who discovers the job of a stringer, a videographer who films crime scenes. Lou forms a bond with morning news director Nina and supplies her with horrifying scenes, which become more gruesome as the film progresses, so that what already stood as a disturbing profession becomes even worse when Lou does whatever it takes to get the most sensational shot to stay ahead of his competition. Dan Gilroy pushes the audience to watch this film with an ethical mode of engagement, which teaches in active viewing that we all have the capacity for monstrous behavior. While Nightcrawler does not shy away from showing the crudeness of the crimes Lou is filming, what stands out is how these crimes are depicted. So by breaking down how Nightcrawler constructs a self-reflexive film for audiences to digest, Nightcrawler has an important missive about violent media productions. Nightcrawler rarely uses conventional action film techniques to depict these scenes, opting instead to frame Lou, his reactions, and his camera's point of view. By framing these scenes in this unconventional manner, the result is a feeling of discomfort for the viewer. The viewer is forced to confront the crime portrayed without the effects of editing or special effects. This discomfort is heightened as Lou's morally inappropriate reactions, such as failing to help out, become abruptly tangible.
Tell me exactly what happened. Will you get the camera out of my face? Get it out! I'm trying to talk to 911!
In the climax, Lou tells two murderers he withheld information about to a crowded diner. He does this because he is aware that the criminals are dangerous enough to create a horrifying but sensational scene, if pushed enough. Therefore, as the action of the scene unfolds, Lou obtains the crime footage of his dreams. The limited camera view makes the viewer watch more intently in order to capture every piece of action through the monitor. In this way, the audience has replaced Lou behind the viewfinder and may even enjoy these scenes, like Lou does. With this self-reflexive interpretation on Nightcrawler, Lou can be said to represent producers and filmmakers which feed the demand for gore and violence. The attitude being that the more graphic, the better. Amy Laura Hall describes this as the chicken and the egg question of whether A, Americans get what we want from the media, or B, Americans are told what they want by the media. While we won't seek to answer the question, we can apply it to Lou's actions throughout the film. At the beginning of his career, Lou copies the basic stringer techniques, but soon figures he is outmatched in terms of equipment and connections. He perseveres and works on getting better shots, close-ups of the victims inaccessible without him trespassing immoral territory. The result? It lands him in the good graces of Nina. This more is better type of mentality suits Lou in the position of the producer, providing the public with what they want, simply supplying the demand. Soon he switches from giving the audiences what they want to telling them what they want once he begins to manipulate the crime scenes himself. One such turning point is when he arrives first at a collision and alone, he moves the body of the victim to be illuminated for a more sensational money shot. But the magnus opus is when he orchestrates the diner shootout between the two murderers and the many police officers. These scenes show us that Lou begins to tell the audience what they want to see. He is manipulating reality for the mere result of sensation. This reflects how producers have normalized and commodified violence in film and television. Antonin Artaud once said about theater that it has the power to influence the aspect and formation of things. And this can be said about all forms of media. Not only can cinema or television show the world as it is, but they also have the capability of shaping it. If Lou is the producer, it might be surprising to say that Nina represents the audience, who are fascinated by graphic visuals and demand sensation to gore. She is shown to be simultaneously fascinated and horrified by Lou's morally ambiguous filmmaking techniques. Just like audiences, Nina is aware of how trivial and inconsequential violence has become in the media, but still engages with it, even encouraging it. After Lou presents footage of him breaking and entering into the homes of victims who were shot, Nina congratulates him on his work as they reflect upon his dedication to the spectacle.
Oh, that's a great piece of tape.
When filmmakers and actors suffer for a good product, the automatic reaction is a similar admiration, and the distinction between the simulated suffering and reality becomes blurred. This lack of acknowledgement of the moral and ethical erroneousness of his actions not only represents her determined characterization, but also conveys the passivity and ingrained voyeurism audiences have become accustomed to even when watching such scenes of horror. When Lou fails to deliver exciting footage, Nina is disappointed and angered with the lackluster performance, the way some fans may be after watching a boring slasher film. She says,
I don't give a goddamn about fucking Corona.
Nina channels the voyeuristic aspect filmgoers have, in which violence in film is criticized and even compared against itself for value. If voyeurism is defined as one who seeks pleasure by visual means, and voyeurism is entrenched in cinema, then it is not far-fetched to say that Nightcrawler deliberately addresses the audience when conveying Nina's apathy towards the gruesome background of the sensation she craves. This is not to say that audiences don't or can't make their own meaning of the media they consume, or that we're all gratuitously consuming gore-filled media. In fact, studies show that audiences are active in selecting violent media as well as interpreting it critically. The issue lies more in how that media interacts with our daily lives. For example, Nightcrawler can help us become more aware of the violent media produced for television, but it does not make us aware of the crime statistics in our local area. Nightcrawler has interesting things to say about cinema and media in general, but for the audience, it encourages us to reflect further about the ethics of consuming and reacting to such content beyond the cinema screen too.